Motorsports Park is home to some of the most spectacular shows in all of drag racing. But Pro Modified qualifying during the 8th Annual Summit Racing Equipment NHRA Nationals brought even more fire to the track in Norwalk, Ohio. Dan Stevenson, Jim Larita, and here Bob Rame show just how explosive things can get.
This track changes with every pass. I mean, one lane's good, one lane's bad, and it just seems to flip-flop as to what's what.
Within the NHRA is a class of car that defies convention. Door slammers with nitrous, turbos, blowers. These are the Mavericks. This is Pro Mod. Welcome to the world-famous, family-oriented sports venue known as Summit Motorsports Park in Norwalk, Ohio, to kick off the second half of the 2014 NHRA Pro Modified Drag Racing Series. It was a war in qualifying between Ricky Smith in the far lane and current world point leader Mike Janis in the near lane when both ran 5.910 seconds.
Did we hurt anything?
Yeah, it looks like we burnt the clutches up in the transmission, so we're thrashing to get them changed. We'll just play it conservative now, first round, and not try and do anything crazy, you know. Danny showed us all how it's done.
Indeed he did. In the near lane, Danny Rowe in the Agave Underground Tequila Camaro, 5.87 seconds to lead the field by 400ths.
I have to be honest with you. I was excited about the number they ran. I am still excited, but I thought that took some big cojones for Jimmy to go out there and throw 87 at him.
Can we do it again?
Oh, I think so. I think so.
We begin eliminations with a brand new driver from the state of Delaware. This is Jerry Capano and his supercharged methanol-burning 1963 Stingray, alongside the man who currently leads the battle for the World Championship, Buffalo, New York's Mike Janis and the Jansen Racing Engine's Chevy Camaro, which has been one of the toughest cars on the tour throughout 2014. The Jerry Haas Race Cars built Corvette in the meantime qualified for this extremely quick field in which the entire 16 cars assembled were within 0.2 of a second. A monstrous hole shot. You're on board with Mike Janis as he blasts to an uncontested win at 5.98 seconds. A much quicker 5.96 career best for Capano, but it was nowhere near Janis. That'll bring up the first of our turbocharged entries. The 1968 Pontiac Firebird of Clint Satterfield takes on this man, Kevin Fiskus, and his partner Josh Klugger with their twin turbocharged Ford Mustang. A massive hole shot for Kevin Fiskus, and the Ford Mustang driver is going to fly to the stripe ahead of the Pontiac Firebird.
The air kind of threw us for a loop. I mean, the altitude was fine, but the low humidity and the low water grains threw us for a loop. The car was trying to run faster. I mean, Mustang Sally here was trying to giddy up a little faster than the track could hold, but we got her figured out.
That's Brian Loans on the top end with Kevin Fiskus, and now the next battle. The bright yellow Jegs.com Chevy Corvette of Troy Coughlin.
It's not always the fastest car wins. A lot of it's consistency, and Steve's done a good job packaging this thing up to make it be that way, so I'm pretty excited.
The 2012 World Champ referring to his crew chief Steve Petty, and alongside him the ultra-low emissions Global Energy Systems Incorporated Camaro of Eric Latino.
I've been told by my crew, because I've been off my shift by about 100 and 200 RPM, and they threatened me that if I don't catch this thing on the shift, they're going to put an automatic shift in the car.
So Latino is racing under threat by his crew. He's got to do well, or he's going to be driving an automatic. Turbocharged versus supercharged methanol burners. Coughlin stages and leaves. A great drag race. Latino's out in front, but Coughlin nips him at the finish line on a hole shot victory. 5 miles per hour more than his opponent at the finish line. You're on board on the tire heating burnout of world champion Ricky Smith and Charlie Lingenfelder's International Distribution Group IDG Camaro. He's alongside Stephen Whiteley, the young rookie driver in the J&A Service Supercharged Camaro, whose mother and father are champions in the top alcohol funny car and top alcohol dragster ranks. Ricky Smith purging the nitrous oxide system in his 2014 Chevy Camaro, a Jerry Pickle Race Cars product. And he's taking his time rolling in. A typical tricky Ricky move. and Whiteley shakes the tires, and it's all over. Smith goes through the gears on the manually shifted 2014 Camaro and takes a win at the quickest run of the round.
We saw you more than anybody keep an eye on the racetrack this afternoon. What were you paying attention to up there?
Well, I'm watching them ball spots and up there. I mean, this track's pretty tricky on the ball spots, and you know, I'm kind of my own crew chief in this deal, so I have to watch the last minute and go jump in the car. But I got good help, Gary Henry and Chad Hester. I mean, hey, you can't beat this IGG.
With one half of the first round of eliminations complete, we've got 2 turbocharged cars, a nitrous-injected entry, and Mike Janis's supercharged car still in the field. We'll be back to Norwalk in just a moment. The NHRA Pro Modified Series presented by Mid-Atlantic Energy Services is brought to you by ARP, the world leader in fastener technology. Precision Turbo and Engine, the winning edge in boosted performance. Aeromotive, serious fuel systems for pro mods to hot rods and everything in between. And by Borla, the world's most winning exhaust. We're back at Summit Motorsports Park, the home of $1 a pound ice cream for the continuation of round number 1 of Pro Modified Eliminations. Grosse Pointe, Michigan's Bob Ram heats the tires on his nitrous Camaro against Vaughn Smith, who along with his longtime partner, Howard Moon, were chosen by Qatar's Sheikh Khalid Al Thani for the Rage team.
That was kind of like a luck of the draw kind of thing, to be honest with you. In other words, when that came about, the Sheikh had called Shannon Jenkins, who was already dealing with them. Shannon called Howard, and quite honestly, Howard called me and asked me about it, and we were kind of on the same page in that, who is this? I mean, a Sheikh, you know, a Prince, you know, is this going to happen, or how could this happen, whatever the case may be. This was in 08. He says, I'm coming to the States. Sure enough, we got in the car and went up there with nothing in mind other than the fact of, see, this is real and whatnot, and it was certainly real. That's certainly his passion, and he wanted to put this thing together right then, and he's like, you know what, you and Howard have been together for some 20 years, and you want to drive it? He's going to tune it. Let's go do it.
Bob Ram is racing at what he considers to be his home track here in northwestern Ohio, even though he lives near Detroit. He's always assisted by his wife and daughters on the starting line. The drivers creep forward to the staging beam, and the first one in is Vaughn Smith. Now the nitrous car brings up the RPMs and stages, and here we go. A great drag race, but Vaughn Smith has the power to drive away. Both drivers deep in the 5-second zone at over 240 miles per hour.
Put new parts on it, didn't work, went back to old parts, and it went down the tracks.
A big surprise for Ford fans. It's the return of Billy Glidden to NHRA Pro Modified Racing and the Mickey Thompson Tires Jerry Haas Race Cars build Mustang, taking on Steve Matusik in the Agave Underground Tequila Camaro, one of 2 on that team. Glidden has returned to the class with a Jeff Nizer nitrous oxide injected power plant, but at least at this point doesn't give himself that much of a chance.
A lot of good luck and a whole shot, and maybe, you know, some problems in the other lane. We need a lot of things to help us, but we're very pleased to get this far.
But anybody who knows Billy Glidden knows he can pull it out no matter what. His entire crew comprised of himself and his wife, Shannon. Matusik, on the other hand, as the best of the business, Jimmy Rector tuning the supercharged Camaro. Glidden leaves with a hole shot, is out in front, and in a puff of sparks, gives up the win to Matusik's 5.97 second run. Looking at the replay, you can see there was plenty of engine damage occurring on that pass in Glidden's Mustang.
I saw that Mickey Thompson car pulling away early, and I'm like, oh, are you kidding me? And we set it up soft, so it nosed over a little bit, but as soon as that thing got in the groove and got stuck in second gear, we were off to the races.
The most recent winner in the NHRA Pro Modified Series, Pete Farber in his Massachusetts-based CRC Brake Clean 1969 Dodge Daytona, takes on Mike Castellana, many-time national event winner in the Western B Speed Tech Nitrous Solutions nitrous oxide injected Camaro, tuned by Shannon Jenkins. A supercharged versus nitrous oxide injected matchup in what are increasingly cool conditions. Farber is out in front, and Castellana just simply gives it up before the finish line, coasting across the stripe as Farber ties Ricky Smith for the quickest run of the round.
What does it feel like you come into this next race knowing that you're the guy?
We had a lot of confidence coming in here. The car's very, very consistent, as we proved. We've put together a good string of runs here, and I think we got a good shot at it today.
Well, here's the tongue twister of the event. This is Kenny Lange driving the Summit Racing Equipment Camaro at Summit Motorsports Park at the Summit Racing Equipment Nationals here in Norwalk, Ohio. Lange is from the Canadian province of Manitoba and is a past world champion in this division in another association. He'll be alongside Danny Rowe. The Agave Underground Tequila team of Mike Ivey. This is the second of that group's 2 machines. On board with Danny Rowe as he streaks across the finish line, and the #1 qualifier goes even quicker. The quickest run of the round at 5:90 with a 7. And his teammate Steve Matusek helps him celebrate the fact that both Agave Underground Tequila cars are going to round number 2. In the next stanza of racing, there will be 4 supercharged methanol burning machines, 3 turbocharged entries, and Ricky Smith's lone nitrous oxide injected race car. Stay with us. We'll be back. Welcome back to Summit Motorsports Park in Norwalk, Ohio for round 2 of eliminations here at the NHRA Pro Modified Series, brought to you by Mid-Atlantic Energy Services. Vaughn Smith is ready to go, but just a few minutes ago, we couldn't find him.
Where's Vaughn at? Vaughn's not working on the car.
I told you where Vaughn's at. He's getting his pedicure done. If he don't have his feet done, it makes him have a heavy foot.
Well, after a trim and polish, Ted Jones caught up with Vaughn.
It's still the old tradition in drag racing. You pack your own shoe. It's like a pair of
Yeah, I said that to my fiance. I told her, I said, you need to start doing that. I said, a lot of the others do it for their man, so to speak. And she's like, nope, I don't want any part of that.
That's right.
I'm not going to be the reason you go off the end of the track.
Totally understandable. The BrightYellowJakes.com twin turbocharged Corvette of Troy Coughlin takes on Mike Janis in a critical drag race. Janis, the Buffalo New Yorker in the far lane, takes on the 2012 world champion. Coughlin racing in his own home state. Janis racing as close as he will race this year to his shop in Buffalo, New York, which was created by his father back in 1958. The current point leader in the far lane, looking to stay on top. But it's not gonna happen this time. Coughlin and crew chief Steve Petty unleash a second 595.
A couple more times today, we might be talking about a Wally.
I'll tell you what, that'd be awesome. With family here and all the people back at Jegs, a ton of us up here this weekend, and wouldn't be more proud.
Now Steve Matusek meets Pete Farber in a rematch of the most recent final round on the NHRA Pro Mod Series at Bristol, Tennessee, which Matusek lost to Farber.
We owe him one, a little redemption. He has something that belongs to us, and we're fixing to get it back.
There is no love lost between these two. Farber, coming off his first national event win ever, knows he's got a combination that works here at Norwalk. It's a great drag race, though. But Farber takes Matusek 2 straight. He definitely has Matusek's number.
Well, you got one more of those Agave Underground cars coming next round with Danny Rowe, so another tough customer on the line.
We'll take care of him. Maybe we'll get a vodka sponsorship or something.
Well, we'll see if Danny Rowe can pull it out. Indeed, there is still one of the Agave Underground Tequila Camaros of the Mike Ivey organization still in competition. But against Vaughn Smith, anything can happen.
You know, in Vaughn, I mean, in Hire, they have a lot of history here. I mean, they got Manzo down there. It's like a triple team in me or something, but I think we'll have something waiting on them.
You're not scared?
Not at all.
Danny Rowe and I are obviously competitors, but Jimmy Richter and my crew chief Howard Moon are also the same way, and not live that far apart from each other. And they have bragging rights every time we go to the starting line, and that's what they want. It's going to be a really good race.
Hunt does a great job in the car, but you know, it's our time. You know, we've worked really, really hard in the last couple of weeks, and we got a lot going on, so we want to take advantage, and it's time for him to go home.
Interestingly, both Jimmy Rector and Howard Moon have multiple world championships in the supercharged alcohol funny car category. They leave the starting line, and this is a whale of a drag race. The win goes to Vaughn Smith on a hole shot. Wow, what a drag race. Take a look at the replay. It was 0.005 of a second difference at the finish line. The twin turbocharged Ford Mustang of Kevin Fiskus takes on the last remaining nitrous oxide injected race car. It's the world champion, Ricky Smith, in Charlie Lingenfelter's Industrial Distribution Group, sponsored Chevy Camaro.
He'll play some tricky games on the start line, I'm sure, so we'll see. He better come up with a new trick this time.
Games? Ricky Smith? Surely you jest. Let's see what happens. Ricky Smith rolls up to the starting line and pre-stages first. Notorious for the starting line games, which Fiskus referenced, Smith sometimes will sit on the starting line for hours if he has to, before he'll go in last. In other races, he might be the first to stage. Right now, neither driver, oh, there goes Ricky Smith. He stages first. Fiskus spools up the turbo car. They leave the line. And it is a drag race, but Ricky Smith gets the win on another hole shot. 591.8 to a losing 5. Well, Ricky Smith can't stop. Only one of his parachutes deploy, and Ricky Smith, after taking a victory this close, could not stop the car in time. He's off the end into the sand trap here at Norwalk, Ohio. Ricky has to wonder if any of those little rocks got inside the engine. He's gonna have to go back to the pits and clean that thing up for his next round match with Troy Coughlin in a battle of the two most recent world champions. You don't wanna miss this. The NHRA Pro Modified Series presented by Mid-Atlantic Energy Services is brought to you by Stage 8, the world's best locking fastener. By Agave Underground, 100% agave tequila. By Precision Turbo and Engine, the winning edge in boosted performance. And by Hurst, America's #1 shifter. 4 cars remain here in the NHRA Pro Modified Drag Racing Series at Summit Motorsports Park. Vaughn Smith and this man, Pete Farber, in the CRC Brake Clean Dodge Daytona, which won the most recent event on the tour.
Vaughn's pretty good on the tree. I think we got our hands full there. It's going to be a fun race.
It could be one of the closest races of the day because these two drivers have had 2 brutally consistent rounds preceding this one. And in fact, Vaughn Smith has 1/100th of a second quicker average of those first 2 rounds. Almost identical in performance to this point. But it's over. Farber heads for the wall, and Vaughn Smith heads for the final round with his quickest run of the day, no less. Now, the stars and stripes fly on Ricky Smith's IDG 2014 Camaro as he backs up behind the starting line for his semifinal match, and this could be worth the price of admission alone. Ricky Smith, the 2013 world champ, against the 2012 world title holder, Troy Coughlin.
Ricky was in the stones, but he won that one on a hole shot.
Yeah, I tell you, if I could have been down there a little bit sooner, I'd have helped push that thing further into the sand and help flip her over on its top. I love Ricky.
Now that Jegs car is running.
Yeah, they're all running. we got to go up there and do our job and try to get down the racetrack because it's probably going to be the hottest and the worst racetrack we've seen all weekend.
It's no secret this is the most intense rivalry in NHRA Pro Mod racing, and we'll have to see what game is played. Oh, Ricky Smith stages almost immediately. Troy Coughlin waits and waits and waits. They leave the line. It's a tremendous drag race. Troy Coughlin wins. Unbelievable side-by-side 594s, and Ricky Smith only has 1 chute deploying again. He spins it out as he gently goes into the sand, but Troy Coughlin is the winner.
I'll tell you, you can't take Ricky lightly. He's always full of games and stuff like that, but
you know, we're here to race, we're here to win, and we're putting our best foot forward, and the Jegs.com car is going to the final.
It should be noted, Troy Coughlin staged that yellow Corvette 0.09 of a second before he would have been timed out.
Pro Mod 101 is brought to you by Precision Turbo and Engine.
Harry, what's the advantage of a turbo over, for instance, a roots blower?
Well, a roots blower takes power off the crankshaft to drive it. On a turbocharger, we use wasted power off the exhaust energy to drive the turbine.
Yeah, it's something you're getting rid of anyway.
Yeah, we're going to throw it away, but no, we bottle it up, run it through the turbine, drive the compressor, compress the air, and force it back into the engine.
This doesn't look very big.
Well, and it is restricted in NHRA for 88 millimeter. However, if you look at the actual unit, it's a lot bigger than what you're seeing in the housing. These are the inducer blades, which is 88 millimeter. But the exducer is where the airspeed is.
Now, what's on the back here?
Well, the back is the turbine we were talking about. This is where the exhaust comes in and rotates the turbine, and this turbocharger spins at about 132,000 RPM. This is the efficiency side, and the Precision Turbo, we're all about efficiency.
What is this line coming in for?
This Dash 6 feed line feeds just enough oil to support on a Dash 12 drain because the turbo is spinning at 130,000 RPM, is aerated. It's actually kind of foamy. Ted, do you notice how this line goes downhill off the drain? That's because it has to go downhill. It's a gravity drain. It's not pressurized, and we don't want it to back up into the crankcase of the turbocharger. So we have to have a good drain.
So we're just feeding some oil to keep it lubricated.
Yep, doesn't need very much.
See, everything you always want to know about turbos, but we're afraid to ask.
Some amazing information there from Ted and Harry about the power plant in that car, the yellow Jegs.com Corvette, the twin turbocharged machine that will take on the Alanabi Racing Dr. Moon's Rage supercharged Chevy Camaro with Vaughn Smith at the helm. Vaughn has a 0.02 of a second advantage based on averages going into this final. But it's going to be Troy Coughlin on a hole shot. Vaughn Smith runs quicker as expected, but Troy wins.
Very blessed today to have both me and my brother Mike in the winner's circle today.
Well, the Jegs.com team has a huge victory in their pockets. Bear in mind, Ricky Smith has returned to the top of the list in the World Championship point standings. On behalf of myself, Brett Kepner, Ted Jones, and Brian Lones, thanks for being with us. We'll see you next from Indy.